Welcome to International Reggio Inspired Early Childhood Learning, otherwise known as HDF 321. This is a faculty-led 2-week trip to Reggio Emilia, Italy, to learn more about their philosophy of early childhood education while engaging with educators, leaders, and the community that dedicated itself to early educational systems. My name is Dr. Cheryl Priest. I'm a professor in the Department of Human Development and Family Studies, and I lead trips to Reggio Emilia about every 2 years with CMU students.
My name is Alex Betker, and I went on this trip as a student in 2012, and I currently teach in the CDLL downstairs in the EHS building on Central's campus. So where is Reggio Emilia? Reggio Emilia is a city in northern Italy that sits between Modena, think balsamic vinegar, Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, prosciutto ham, Ferrari, and Parma, think Parmesan cheese, Parma ham, and the opera.
What is Reggio-inspired early childhood learning? Well, you could come to Italy with us to find out, or we could tell you a little bit more. We'll give you a small taste as we explain and share some photos. In this region of Italy, you will find a constructivist-focused philosophy of learning that is child-focused, experience-based, and relationship-driven. Educators from across the globe visit Reggio Emilia every year to better understand their principles of respect, their views of children as citizens with rights, and their passion for teaching and learning through discovery and play. Educational programs in Reggio Emilia and Reggio-inspired programs in countries around the world support children in expressing their ideas, thoughts, and learning through 100 languages. These symbolic languages might include painting, sculpting, drama, music, manipulation of light, cooking, and 100 more. All majors are welcome as long as you are willing to focus your learning within this early childhood context.
Before leaving for Italy, students complete pre-class readings about the city and philosophy using 2 books. One, a series of essays about the city, and the other, a perspective of an American teacher describing personal experiences in Reggio Emilia and bringing that learning home. While reading each small portion of the books, there are reflection questions to engage with that will build your excitement to visit the city. After completing the reading, students will meet one-on-one with a faculty leader for a coaching session to uncover an area of individual interest that the student can investigate further, both before and during the trip. All of the experiences planned during the trip and described next will support the gathering of data towards topics as the students live their curiosity within another culture. The culmination of this research and lived experience will result in students preparing and presenting their learning with each other, sharing thoughts on how they can translate into their work in the United States.
So, what are some of the experiences and activities that are planned during this trip? Shortly after our arrival, the course instructors, along with Roberta Pucci, a local friend of CMU, will facilitate a guided tour of the city in order to share areas of historical prominence, to support further independent exploration, and to orient the group to the location and its historical context. There is then time built into the schedule for independent exploration in order to engage in focused exercises and to further investigate identified areas of interest. Students will visit the Loris Malaguzzi International Center over the course of several days to engage with program staff through lectures, as well as to visit their documentation center and historical exhibits where they will be given time to read, touch, experiment, and question.
Students will have an excursion to the neighboring community, Cavriago, where they will tour 2 early childhood centers, observe, and then dialogue with program leaders during a shared meal. Also in Cavriago, students will engage in a hands-on creative workshop in conversation with artillerista Roberta Pucci. Local artilleristas will also be invited to participate. An artillerista is typically an artist or art educator who works directly with children in schools or who describes the work of the atelier or studio to visiting educators. As we said before, Roberta Pucci is a friend of CMU and CMU's Child Development and Learning Laboratory. And we have been traveling back and forth to support each other's work and learning for over 10 years.
We will spend time at the Ramita, established in 1996 in Reggio Emilia. The Ramita is a cultural project focused on sustainability, creativity, and research on waste materials. It fosters the idea that waste materials, the imperfect, are holders of an ethical message, able to stir reflections which aim to be an educational resource, thus avoiding the definition of useless and waste. The center is visited every year by more than 3,000 people among teachers, artists, students, administrators, and interested people coming from all over the world. Students will experience a guided tour of the Ramita with time to interactively explore the materials and proposals for their use.
As a group, we will visit another nearby city in Italy to explore the museum dedicated to hands-on learning, followed by time to experience local culture. There's more, including planned time for each participant to explore both individually and in groups. But think Parmesan cheese, balsamic vinegar, gelato, and beautiful views from the hills. But some of these things should be just saved for the actual experience. So we'll leave some of the things up to your own imagination.
Before we go, we want you to see a brief summary of the knowledge that you will gain through on-site hands-on discussions, explorations, and exchange. You will be able to outline the historical beginnings of the infant, toddler, and early childhood centers in Reggio Emilia, Italy, and discuss the unique partnerships that exist between teachers, parents, and the community of Reggio Emilia, and be able to say that you've been there. You will identify the major theoretical frameworks used in the centers, discuss the theorists and practitioners influencing the approach, and propose potential implications for early childhood education in the United States and in other countries. You'll be able to describe an appreciation for the major elements of a Reggio-inspired early childhood center and classroom in Italy. You'll examine how the educational project known as the Reggio Emilia approach evolves as a result of the exchange with those in more than 145 countries and territories. You'll identify and articulate differences in perceived and experienced cultural values of the location. You'll be able to compare and contrast ways in which culture influences attitude towards and practices related to early education in the United States and Reggio Emilia. And you'll be able to articulate geographical, cultural, and political traditions of your identified interest area and educational services in Reggio Emilia. And you'll be able to recommend ways in which this information can contribute to the knowledge, skills, or personal practice once you're back in the United States.
We both look forward to answering your questions, to helping you learn more about this important philosophy and approach, and to traveling with you.
Ciao.